Ladies and gentlemen,
Conversations, others of war.
the What If
Show hosted by Darius Davis, where real issues meet real people, where culture meets college paths, from community leaders to athletes, activists to everyday voices. If it matters to people, it matters here.
Where the truth, you know, ain't the only truth that exists.
What if change started with a conversation?
Every street got a story, every block got a legend, every city got a what if, every rumor got a message. We take the myth, the whispers in the night, flip the script, shine a light, turn the shadows into sight. What if studio?
The What If Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host Darius Davis, and this is What If Show, and I'm here tonight with my guy Antawn Knight, best-selling author, Lead Out Loud. I'm going to give him the opportunity to kind of introduce himself. I want you guys to go make sure you like and subscribe. I know he did a little, he got 15 plus years of leadership experience. U.S. Embassy experience, the lead model creator. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you kind of introduce yourself, tell about where you're from, tell about kind of how you got into the leadership business.
Oh, perfect. Hey, Darius, thank you for having me on the show. I gotta first, give some people their flowers. Like first and foremost, you. I remember when you created this platform, kind of seeing how it's going. And you've had some straight up legends up in here. I think you had Chris Porter up in here, you had Derek.
Yeah.
I think you had cousin Julie up in here. Yeah, the motivator. One dude was running for governor. And I think last Anthony McMillan, I think that was his name. And his no excuses thing. And I was 100% gonna make an excuse and reschedule this being sick. But anyway, so being able to give a platform for us like this, being able to kind of share the word. And anybody that's watching this, like any one of those videos, this is gold. They passing out nuggets here. But anyway, so for me, I'm Antawn or Antawn Knight. If you're from where I'm from, it's Antawn, but nobody else can say it. So it's Antawn for the rest of the world. But coming from Abbeville, Alabama, which most of us come from, and was really cool about coming from a small town, because most people think small town like, oh man, you miss a lot of stuff. Yeah, which can be true, but for us, man, I mean, like, look, social media didn't have nothing on Abbeville. I'm telling you, something happens, then everybody knows the next day. Yeah, and what was really cool for me, it was a community. So like you was raised by not just your mama, grandma, your auntie, your cousin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we got to see a lot of things early, and we got a lot of great leadership examples we got to see throughout the community, and everything from teachers to coaches and all that. So. Come up from there, just like every other high school athlete that was good in any sport. I thought for sure, no doubt, I was going to the league. Like NFL guaranteed. I felt like, obviously didn't make it to the league. So, so that was really good. So then, pivoted and joined the military, and which was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. So got to learn a lot of leadership, got to teach a lot of leadership, got to see a lot of things and be in rooms that I never thought a little country boy from Alabama would be able to, but it's been a great journey so far.
Oh man, that is amazing, man. Amazing story, man. I had been waiting to hear your story for a while, man. Yeah. Now I'm finally getting the opportunity to hear it. Yeah. I do want to ask you this question, man. When you hear Lead Out Loud, what does that really mean in today's world?
That's a good one. So I think for me, when I say lead out loud, a lot of people speak, but a lot of people aren't heard. Because you're speaking does not mean you heard. So I can probably think of the best example that I can think about. So growing up in our community, we had a legend, and our legend was Coach Moses Knight. So he was my uncle, and I still call him Coach Knight. So if you know anything about Coach Knight, he was a man of not many words. He'll talk, but when he talk, people listen. Yeah. So I think the biggest misconception people think about leading out loud is you got to talk more to be a leader, but really, like, leading is presence, right? Leading is trust. So I think the biggest thing is that teaching people that, look, like, sometimes talking more is a bad thing. So how do you be more intentional in your words? Like, how do you make sure people actually want to trust you and those kind of things? So that's what it means to me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I know. Talking about you, man, and talking about your story, man, kind of take us back to what made you fall in love with leadership, man. How did you just fall in love with this thing, man?
Yeah. Oh man. Outside of seeing it early, so for me in the military, like the number one thing they told me to do when you join is don't stand out. Like, just get by the basic training and those kind of things. And throughout early in my career, like the military always gave me a chance to lead things. Lead things that I had no idea about. One time I was leading a Hispanic Heritage Month, which I had to learn a lot about that. But in general, I think when I used to teach leadership, so there's this course, it's called Airman Leadership School. So basically, when people have progressed to the rank of sergeant, so like you have E1 all the way up to E9, so E5 is the sergeant rank. So during that class, we teach, I don't know, like 6 weeks of all leadership, everything from critical thinking to the historic of leadership, and all how to be a supervisor and those kind of things. So I think for me, teaching that, then I think it was one particular part in the class that was one of the students, and he was pretty bright, but he was quiet. He was quiet, and and I noticed, and eventually I asked him, "Hey, like, dude, I haven't heard from you." He was like, "I didn't think my voice mattered." In a room full of leaders, this person didn't feel like their voice mattered. Wow. And and we think about us and many of us that sat in rooms where we've had ideas, we've had things that we can add to the conversation, but we didn't feel comfortable saying those things. We didn't feel comfortable putting our voice in the conversation. So this is kind of like teaching people, like, okay, why is it important to lead? So I think that's for me, like giving a voice to people is probably the biggest thing, giving them space in order to do it. So yeah.
Awesome, man. So what is the I want to know, was there ever a moment where you didn't really feel like a leader?
Oh yeah, 100%. Many moments. Yeah. So I think oof, man, there's so many to think about. I think I'll probably say I was working this hurricane recovery job. So a big hurricane hit a base, and my job was to go out there with the finance team and kind of reestablish the operations for it.
Yeah.
So it was a dynamic environment. Like things were changing a lot. It wasn't a lot of structure as it usually be, because you're restarting things on there too.
Yeah.
And I think there were times in there, it's like, man, am I leading these people the right way? So I think, throughout numerous times, like I can point to several situations where like, did you always make the best decision? So I think the biggest thing is whether you make the best decision or not, like, was it the best decision at the time? Or was that the best one you could at the time? So for me, I think, looking through all those many mistakes that I've made throughout my career, which kind of helped me understand, okay, if you make this decision, without people, knowing about it, like if I'm asking someone to do something and I'm not doing it, then how am I expecting them to do it? Am I walking the walk, or am I just telling them, do as I say is not as I do, type thing?
Exactly. I understand that, man. I understand that. Yeah. I want to ask you this question, man. What did the Air Force teach you the most that people would never understand about leadership, man? What did they teach you the most?
Oh, I would probably say it's not about you.
Okay.
So even though you could be individually great, if your team sucks, then it doesn't matter. Like so I can think of one situation that was, I don't know if I can say that on the camera. Anyway, a certain situation that happened when I was in basic, and I was what's called dorm chief, so I was in charge of the flight. And this one person had kind of messed up the bathroom a little more than usual, and because one person had did it, we all had to re-scrub the bathroom, and then we had to do a whole bunch of other different things because of it. So if one person messed up, everyone kind of got it. So that's one of the things it taught you, like you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's awesome, man. I want to ask you this question, man. What is probably one of the biggest mistakes young leaders make early on?
Oh, so I would probably say that the biggest thing is thinking you got to have all the answers, or you got to talk first. So most people think that, you're the leader, you're supposed to talk first, right? You're supposed to, tell everybody what the decision is and all those kind of things. So what that does is, I don't know, think about basketball, right? So the way I think about basketball is, let's say, your job is a scorer. You're the scorer on the team. or your job is the point guard, right? If you go down and shoot every shot, how good you think everyone else is gonna play defense? Probably not. Like, nah,
not at all.
do it yourself. Go ahead. You better play all the defense.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the same thing with leadership, right? So I think if you're talking all the time and if you're not necessarily valuing people's opinions, then they aren't gonna come along. You know, they're gonna do the barest minimum. Like, I'm here just so I don't get fired type thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest thing is, one, you don't talk first, because when you talk first, you shut everybody else down. Yeah. And two, you give other people a chance to talk. You know, give other people a chance. You know, and that's what leadership is. It's helping others elevate.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Awesome. So I kind of want to, like I said, break that down, man. Your lead motto: listen, empower, adapt, and decide.
Yeah.
So out of those four, which one do people struggle with the most?
Oh, it's the first one. That's why listening. Oh man, I know we've all seen people talk, and as soon as they finish talking, you're like, okay, but but this, like, they don't even process. I think listening is something that we all forget throughout our time. So, and really, if you don't listen, like, no one's gonna trust you. Like, if you don't listen to anything I say, like, you can tell me what you want to tell me. Like, I'm not gonna respect you at all. So I think the foundation of trust is listening, you know, being able to hear what they got to say on there too. And I think one of the things we talk about is the 80-20 rule. Like, you hear 80-20 relationships, well, 80-20 is like in listening, right? You should be listening 80% of the time and talking 20% of the time, you know? And when you can do that, you can find out what people think. And then people can feel their value compared to, like, I'm just doing what the boss tells me to do. I'm just here, just showing up, you know?
Awesome, man. How does listening actually make you more powerful as a leader, man? How does that make you more powerful? I know you talked about that a little bit, but can you expound upon that a little bit?
Oh man, I think if you're trying to build trust, I think most people think that it's kind of go with the leadership misconception is because you got a position or title, people are supposed to listen to you. That you know, because I'm the manager, I'm the boss. You supposed to do what I'm supposed to, do what I'm supposed to do. That's not how it works. All right. Well, I think, you know, giving people time to listen, and sometimes you just listening, not even to say anything. I have this one troop that every week, she would come to my office and like cry, like a big cry. I ain't talking about like just small tears, but she'll come in, she'll cry about 5-10 minutes, she'll get herself together and go out there and like just destroy the job, which is in a good way, you know. So I think sometimes, you know, just listening to people, that makes them feel valued. And if people aren't feeling valued, then they're not going to contribute as much.
That's true, man. That value is very important, man. I'm glad you said that, man.
Like, you talking to me and I'm looking this way the whole time.
Yeah,
like, man, it's gonna be a short interview. I'll tell you that. This ain't gonna go very long.
So what does it look like to empower people without losing control, man? How do you get these people empowered without losing control of them?
Oh, you said something really good there. Control. Okay. So I think that's always a slippery slope. When you're leading, if you want to control everything, then you're dipping into that micromanagement level, you know. And I don't know about you, but I'm not the hugest fan, you know, somebody over my shoulder, right? So I think the biggest thing is, I don't know. Sometimes you got to give people a chance, and sometimes you got to let people fail in a short way, though, right? You know, like, you know, so like sometimes, you know, like what I always do, no matter who comes to me, like my troops or anything, I say, look, what do you think? Like that immediately before they say anything to me, I'm gonna say, what do you think? And they try to talk to everyone else before they come to me, because, you know, I know exactly what I'm going to say, but it allows them a chance to kind of like, okay, what do they think about this? Oh, most times they even have the answer. You know, they just don't know, or they just don't believe that they have the answer. So I think empowerment is giving people, is passing people the ball. You know, are you going to shoot over 3 people, or are you going to pass to an open person for 3? You know, you can shoot over 3 people, but the open person, what they going to do? I'm trying down the court. I ain't gonna pass it to me. So, you know, so I think that's what you got to think about.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. So, man, can someone be a leader if nobody's following?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say it depends. Okay, so it depends on, first, you know, when you come into a situation, I use basketball references because basketball is the easiest thing to go.
Yeah.
So let's say, like, you know, you have a basketball team, you got your team set. All right, this new guy comes in, supposed to be a star of the team. Okay.
Yeah.
So immediately everyone's looking at the person like, hey, like, you know, this is our team, like you joining in, you know, that kind of thing. So what is that new person gonna have to do? They're gonna have to do all the dirty work, right? They're gonna have to, you know, show up for practice, right? They're gonna have to, you know, earn the trust of the team in there too.
Yeah.
So if you're a new person in the team, first you got to understand what the team's feeling. You know, like, okay, like, you know, like whoever your disgruntled people are, or I like to call them your influencers, right? Some people that kind of like influence people. Like you got to find out, okay, why are they upset? You know, are they upset because they didn't get the promotion they're supposed to get, or they've been looked over, or they applied for the job 7 times, they didn't get it?
Yeah.
So once you kind of find out what the root cause of it is, now you can talk about it. Okay, let's say I got this one disgruntled person. I'm like, okay, all right. So, you know, we sit down. So, okay, why are you upset? Like, okay, I didn't get the job. Okay, why did you think you didn't get the job? I mean, these conversations can be a little touchy. Like, why do you think you get the job? I said, okay, look, all right. So, you know, these are things that you're missing. Like, you apply for the job, but you know, you don't have this certification, or you know, you don't have an associate's degree, whatever that is. That's why you didn't get it. But if you want to get a job like this in the future, like, here's your path, right? Here's Wallace Community College right here. Here's that. So I think those kind of things build credibility on it. But you got to address the issue, and it might be you. So you might have to look. You might have to look at yourself, right? It might. You might be like, you know. So I think it's a real hard mission, real hard thing to do. And you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. Like, you know, dealing with people is my strengths. My weaknesses is organization. I'm like not organized at all. So people know, like, listen, I won't forget some things. So you're gonna have to remind me like 4 or 5 times. Okay. Don't leave. Like, make sure I do it before you go to make sure this is done. Because when you leave, I'm having 7 different things coming on my plate. So I think it's just being real and genuine with people and kind of meeting people where they are. That's probably the biggest thing. Then you earn trust, you know, because if you don't have trust, you don't have nothing.
No, you don't, man. You can't run anything without trust, man. I don't care if you're a boss on a job. You got, you know, those people got to trust you.
Oh yeah, I can't trust you to be here on time. Like, I can't trust you to do the job. No way.
No way. So I do want to ask you this question, man. You led high pressure environments. What separates strong leaders from weak leaders?
Let's see here. I almost said fear, but everyone should have a set of fear. I would say communication is probably the biggest thing. Yeah, communication. Weak leaders hide behind emails. They don't like to address the issue. They wait. Like, something happens on Monday, they might talk about it in 2 weeks. You know? They accountability. You know, weak leaders don't have any accountability. It's always somebody else's fault. You know, a great leader takes accountability. You know, anything, you know, my team does is my fault. It isn't regardless of what it is, you know. So I think between those kind of things and, you know, lack of trust, you know, weak leaders don't listen to their people. They always telling them what to do. They're the boss. So because they're the boss, that's how those things happen. So I think between that, like, being able to communicate with people is probably the number one thing that bad leaders lack.
Awesome, man. Communication. So tell me about a time leadership went wrong with you, man. What did you learn from that, man?
Man, so many times leadership went wrong. But in a good way. I would say so my job in the Air Force is financial management, right? Our job is to make sure, like, 2 parts, right? Our job is either managing budgets or is managing, you know, people's pay, travel, those kind of things. And, you know, when you're dealing with pay, it's a sensitive subject, right? You know, people's welfare, like, you know, how being able to pay their bills, being able to pay their rent, like, pays is touchy, right? So we have a heightened sensitivity to people's pay. So this one particular time that, you know, a group of people didn't get paid. And our processes were not as solid as I thought they would be. And so, you know, when I found out that, you know, X number of people weren't paid, like, you know, I immediately had to own up to it. Like, look, okay, you know, send a message out to all the people involved and their leadership. Like, hey, look, this is what we did. This is what happened. This is what we're doing to fix it. And this is what's going next on there too. So, you know, like, I think the biggest thing is, like, I didn't blame the team for it, because again, overall it's my responsibility. The person that didn't do their job, yes, of course, they got some accountability for that. But as far as the message to the team goes, it was all me. You know, it was something that I missed, and I think for the team, they kind of like let them know, like, look, this guy ain't gonna throw me under the bus, on those kind of things. So that was probably the most recent example. But dealing with pay, it's always something you have to deal with.
Man, that's awesome, man. Awesome. I do want to answer this question, man. I know, you like many others have been in situations where, the people in that organization may not respect you.
Yeah.
How do you lead people who don't respect you?
So it just depends, right? So if someone's under you, if someone's not your boss, right? So if someone's not your boss, then you got kind of two ways, right? You can either win them over time with consistency, right? That's kind of getting to know them and finding out why they're disgruntled. And some people they're just bitter, and if they are bitter, like eventually, like if they aren't doing their job, they're then you got to kind of take care of that part. So I think I'm a big fan of, like, over time I'm gonna win you over. Like every day I'm gonna come in with the same energy. I'm gonna come in with the same hype smile. I'm gonna come in high-fiving you, every single day, and I'm gonna wear you down. Like I'm in it for the long game. So I know for me, like I think the long game. Also for your boss though, like say someone's your boss and they don't respect you. I mean, for me, like I think it's kind of knowing what your lane is. So I know for my lane is like there's a difference between authority and influence. So for me, I even go back to my embassy jobs, right? So in the embassy, my job was, managing the finance for this particular unit. Like our job was to support all of the whole continent of Australia. So it was at the U.S. Embassy in Australia. So my job itself as a E7 as a master sergeant, right, was this bad. It was, probably it was a good scope, but not a huge. But the influence, because I knew everyone at the embassy, right? I knew the embassy staff. I knew their finance people, right? Because I knew them, then I had a ton of influence, right? I ended up kind of being over the whole embassy's budget, not because of my position. So if my boss, doesn't respect me, my influence is gonna get you, So you might not respect me, but people around you are gonna respect me. And if you're saying things that's weird to me, they're gonna be looking at you sideways. It's gonna make them look bad. So that's how I look at it.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I want to ask you this question, man. Why do so many people struggle to communicate clearly?
I think it's two ways, So I think you got some people that they have a lot of thoughts up there in their head, like they want to say a lot of things. I'm a fast talker too, so I think you think if you say more, then eventually it's going to catch on. But it's really diverse. You really saying less. You can say less and mean more, in a lot of cases. And I think a lot of times we just don't know. Like we just weren't taught how to speak. We talk. We talk how we talk. And there's a different way you talk in a business environment versus talking, at home in the backyard type thing. So I think that people understanding the framework. It's kind of like shooting a jump shot, right? Anybody can go out there and throw up a jump shot, but once you learn the form, like okay, put the elbow in, like now you can start making more of those shots. So I think communication, once you kind of understand the form and kind of what you want to say, and probably one of the best things I've heard, like it's Steve. I think Steve Kerr said this, right? It was like during like I don't know TNT timeout, and it always stuck with me. And if you watch the coaches in NBA, right? When they go into the huddle, they always speak in headlines, right? They give you the headline first, like, "Oh, we're okay, we're right there," So they give the headline first. Now people can wrap around it. So I think communication, right? Sometimes we hold what's important to the end, and we don't lost the whole people on there. Just say what's important up front, then you go to it.
Okay, that's what's up, man. I want to ask you about this, man. How can someone find their voice if they feel like they've been overlooked their whole life? I have a lot of people that I've been knowing all my life, man. They be like, man, I've been overlooked. This person overlooked me, this, that, and other. How can people do that, man? How can they find their voice?
That's a good one. I think in general, majority of us have felt that way at some point in our life. Too. So I think the biggest thing people have to think about is, identify like why. Okay, why does a person think they're overlooked? Does it think because, I don't know, because this job doesn't have so many positions, or they think they're overlooked, for the other person? Okay, what credentials does the other person have? Now, what are the credentials for the job? Do they interview well? Like, so there's a lot of different factors in there. So I think the biggest thing people can do is if they can communicate more clear, if they can, whether an interview or at the job, they can say, okay, this person right here, like this person says what they mean and we get it. But this person right here, like, I don't know, they're talking in circles, those kind of things. So I think the biggest thing is just finding out what your strengths are in your voice on that too. Are you a quiet person? Or, are you more of a loud person? If you're a loud person, are you just speaking loud all the time, scaring everybody away? If you're a quiet person, are you just not saying anything, and hoping someone sees you? Because most times they won't, so I think, so it's kind of determining where they are on that.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. I do want to ask you this also. What's one communication habit that instantly makes someone more influential? Like, what's one thing that a person can do that makes them more influential?
Let's see. I would say more influential.
Yeah. We'll give you more of a presence in the room. What's one thing that they could do?
Oh, perfect. I think one of the best things like leaders or aspiring leaders can do is ask good questions. Okay. Like it's not necessarily have the great answer, but ask the questions that like people aren't thinking about. Let's say we're all talking about the color is blue. All right, why can't the color be green? Just simple things. So I think then when you ask great questions, people remember that. Like, oh man, you know what? I didn't even think about that, or something like that. So I think asking really good questions or, like providing insight very clear on things, I think those things make a big difference.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I think I think that's some real quick. I think like the basketball reference, right? So I think with communication, just like sports or in life, I think what you got to do is you really got to master the fundamentals, so like from a basketball perspective, right? You can't shoot threes if you can't shoot twos. You might want to be able to shoot twos, do some form shooting, before you get there. So I think regardless of what you're doing in life, whether you are, I don't know, teacher, banker, whatever, right? So I think that if you get those fundamentals down, like you get those things down, like everything else kind of goes into place. So when it comes to speaking, right, you got the fundamentals of like, okay, I'm gonna try to be clear in what I got to say, or I'm gonna kind of try to make sure I say whatever this is, and those kind of help. And I think too, I think you also got to think about comparison, right? So my granddaddy always said like comparison was like salt water, right? The more you drink, the thirstier you get. So I think the key thing when you comparing yourself to someone else, like everyone's race is different, the minute you start looking at someone else like, man, why can't I have that? You drinking the salt water, right? You're gonna be thirsty for a long time, you don't want to do that for sure. And I think the last thing is are you coachable? So if you aren't coachable, if you don't have room to grow, if you come in with all the answers that you like, okay, I know how to communicate, nobody can tell me jack squat, I got it. Move over. I'm here now. All right. If you come in with that kind of mindset, like you're not going to grow. So you definitely got to have the fundamentals down. If you don't got the fundamentals of whatever you're doing, you're not going to make it. I mean, you're not going to be very successful because your fundamentals is what you fall back on. If you're comparing yourself always to other people, right, you're always going to be chasing something that you're never going to reach. And if you're not coachable, you're not going to grow because you're not going to listen to the advice that you get. And looking back where we come from, just thinking about all the teachers, all the coaches that we had, right? Like we had to be coachable. You think coach not gonna let us on the team if you ain't listening to him? Oh, you ain't make it the first day of practice.
No,
sure. Like
you're right.
We all had to come in coachable, and we had to listen. If you say something, you do it, And we've come from a community that there's so many people have poured into us. I remember our morning talks. I think Mr. Brother Johnson used to do it. And he was like, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. In the morning, I'm like, man, I gotta hear this thing again. Now that I think about it as an adult, like, man, he was spitting some facts. Like those was some gems he was dropping in there. So I think the key thing is like you fundamental, you coachable, and you don't you run your own race. Like those are the keys to success.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff, man. That's good stuff. So I'm looking at your book, man, and just looking over it, man. We look at the Lead Out Loud Collective. Who is that for, man? Who is that for?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's for anybody aspiring to lead. It's a free group. I made a school community for it, and it's just people that want to learn about leadership. Ask questions. We have weekly prompts. I might drop a little leadership, a little nugget in there that you kind of talk about. So it's just really a space that everyone can grow. Because again, we talk about that. Sometimes it's not the talent that people have; it's just the technique. So most people are very talented. I believe a lot of people are more talented than they probably give themselves credit for, but they just don't have the techniques to apply that talent. If you can jump high, but you can't grab the ball, or if you can run fast and you can't catch, so it's just getting those techniques in there. So that it's just a space for growth.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome, man. Why did you feel the need to build a community instead of just doing some content, man? What made you feel like building a community would be better?
I mean, honestly, I procrastinated on it for a minute. I had saw school pop up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna be a little extra work. I'm like, am I really committed to doing something like this? Then eventually I kept seeing more content about it. I kept seeing people kind of talking about it, and I saw the community kind of growing for it. Yeah. And one of the guys I follow, he's probably like one of the best-selling book guys. His name is Alex Mosey or something like that. And he started getting involved with it too. So I was like, okay, let me just see what this is about, And really, my passion is to teach. Like if I can just teach all the time, like that's literally like all I would want to do. Like I would almost, not quite, I would almost work for free for that. But yeah, so so it just gives me another space to kind of like teach and help people and give back to my very fortunate training that I received. So
oh man, that's awesome, man. Awesome stuff, man. So what kind of transformation are people getting inside of your space, man? Once they come inside that space, what type of transformation are they going to see?
I think the biggest thing is reflection. So what kind of separates us between, I mean, really pretty much any of the species, right, is we have the ability to reflect on things. Like there was a study that was done, I can't remember how many years ago it was, and it basically they had three groups, right? They had one group that just practice free throws. They had another group that sometimes practice free throws, and some people that just thought about free throws, and they had them all like shoot the free throws like for the final one, and the ones that actually reflected on like shooting free throws shot just the same, if not better, than the ones that had been practicing. So I think to be able to reflect on things, all right, being able to kind of talk about your situation and not really be alone, so when it comes to leadership, it can be very lonely because sometimes you can't always talk to people at your job about it, it can get messy. So I think just having a space where other people are very, in tune with leadership and wanting to grow and having that shared safe space is huge.
Awesome, man. That is awesome, man. I do want to ask you this, man. Growing up, man, we used to always hear this. People use this term. Some people are followers and some people are leaders. Is everybody meant to be a leader?
I actually have a little, I'll say I don't have beef with the follower leadership model. But it's, it stems from historical leadership theory, right? And historical leadership talking about, okay, the big man theory, like all leaders have these traits. Like you got to have these traits to be a leader. You're the leader or a follower. There was a book I read. I think it was called Turn the Ship Around. It's written about this Navy captain and basically about nuclear submarines. And basically his motto was like leader, like, teaching people how to be leaders, not necessarily be followers on there too. So I think the leader follower makes sense from a historical perspective, but I think if you're really trying to make people better, you probably want to do a leader. So leader follower is you do what I tell you to do.
Yeah,
you go walk yourself on somewhere, right? Leader is like, okay, this is our problem. What do you think? What do you think can fix it? That kind of thing. So I think if you start thinking that way, our life is a lot easier compared to someone just making all the decisions.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. That makes a lot of sense. So I know a lot of times people get titles, and you get, okay, I know in the military you got sergeant this and sergeant that, or you get head coach this and head coach that. Do these titles help these people become leaders, or do these titles expose them?
I think it'd be a bit of both. I think sometimes people hold on to a title, like it gives them power, and in some ways it does, right? It gives them a position of power, but But I think sometimes people hold on. Anybody that says like, I'm this, you should do this. You know, like it's immediately like I'm no credit. I discredit them immediately. Like, nah, like that's not the way. So I think the biggest thing is like, people know you in charge, right? But like, how much are you influencing people, right? We know you got the authority, but do people really trust you, to go to you? People believe in you, and like, how I believe it is like first you got to earn trust, right?
Yeah.
So your trust is gonna go way farther than your title. Then once you get trust, now you got belief, So I think with titles, it can be a scary thing. I think most times people without the title have more influence. You think about many jobs you've seen people work that you worked when you know who's in charge. Everyone goes to this person. No, I get it. This dude's in charge, but this dude knows the stuff. Let's go talk to him. So I think that happens all the time, and I think it's a big blind spot for leaders because they think their title makes them important. They think it makes them influential, and it really doesn't. Really does the word opposite. If anything, it decreases it. Like this guy's us, right? I don't want to believe that. But so.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff, man. What is your message to people who are waiting for permission to lead? A lot of times you're sitting back, you're just waiting. What is your message to those type of people?
If you wait, you're always going to wait. I think one of the biggest things you can do is, when you have your chance, you take it. When you have an open shot, if you pass that shot up, they ain't passing it back to you. I tell you that right now. If you wide open and nobody's there and you pass it, nah, bro. You don't want it. So I think one of the biggest thing is like you have to take the shots. You've done the things to get yourself in those positions to be where you are. Like now you just gotta trust those fundamentals, right? You've done the fundamentals, you got your things there. Right now, you just gotta trust what you've already done in there. So I would say, if you wait, you're always going to be waiting. So I think, but it's never too late, So if you've been waiting however amount of time, like you can always change that. That's something. That's the action that you can change. So yeah, that's good.
Man, it's amazing, man. Amazing. So what if somebody right now is watching this, man, and they are playing small? What would you tell them, man?
First, join the community. So I think if you are playing small, I think first thing is identify where do you feel like you're small. Identify kind of like, okay, where do I feel small in this area? Is it my job knowledge? Is it just what I know? Is it my communication? Is it my timeliness? Paul Small, I can't make it to work on time. So once you kind of identify like where it starts. If you don't identify where it starts, like it's already gone. So if you I don't know, if you drive in a car and I don't know, if you don't realize you ain't got no gas, you ain't getting very far. So you want to find out what the root cause is for it too. So I would say, anybody that's playing small, I would say definitely identify where you are and be real about it. Like be real. Everybody's not great in everything. If you think you're great in everything, you are lying to yourself. That's for sure. Oh, if you got the secrets, tell me, because I need to know how to do that because I don't have it. But I think the biggest thing is just identify where you are. Then there's ways to get there. You just gotta be tactical with it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I do want to ask you this, man. Just give me one sentence. What does it mean to lead out loud?
One sentence?
Yeah.
Be bold.
Be bold.
Be bold. Be bold. Be confident and be clear. To be honest, leading people is tough because people got problems. All right. People got things going on. And if you work any kind of job, it's not always going to be good. There's going to be some things. So it's going to be some tough days. And it's going to be some things you're going to have to work through. But I think the being bold and kind of like having courage. Having those difficult conversations. And kind of trying to help people kind of be where they are. Most people don't come to work and just say, I'm gonna suck today. I'm just not gonna be very good. I'm just gonna come to work and I'm gonna be terrible. Like most people are like that, So I know the military is really big because we obviously have to make sure people do the job, but I also got to make sure their welfare is good because some parent somewhere is trusting me with their kids, with these troops, young troops in here, and and I have to make sure that that I honor that. that we respect that, and that we put people in the best position, because if we don't, then legitimately our lives on the line on that. So so it's something you kind of got to take a little seriously.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So where can people find you and grow with you, man? I would like to know that, man. Where can people find and grow with you at, man?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously do any social on there too.
Okay.
So any social is good. I do like a 2-minute leadership series. So if you
Okay.
don't know leadership, I always try to drop some of those in there just so you can get some leadership concepts.
Great.
And in 2 minutes or less too. I try to make it fast.
Great.
So on there, the school community is a good one as well.
Yeah.
On there, so I would say definitely, like, for the easiest one, say join a free school community, and grow that way.
Gotcha. Awesome, man. So I do want to ask you this quickly, man. If you're going to talk with another person, man, and you want to share something with this person, man, what would you share with them about leadership? Yeah, one thing that you could share with them. What would you share with them about leadership?
I would say, starting off in the beginning, listen.
Okay.
Listen. I mean, if you don't listen first, like, I'm serious. Like, if you don't listen to people first, like, everything else is a no-go on that too.
Okay.
So if anybody you're leading, including yourself, like, you need to listen and find out what's going on first. Because if you don't, then you're never gonna find the real problem, and you're gonna be putting a bunch of band-aids on the wound compared to patching it up. So you don't want to do that.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. Now, I know you got your book out, man. And how do we get a hold of your book, man?
Oh, cool. So it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, it's on Walmart, Books A Million, you name it. But all those things. And I would say, like, one of the, just for letting people know, like, writing a book is something that I never thought I would do. It's something that I've kind of thought about. I remember back in the day, I used to write poetry, like, for in high school, but anyway, so but writing a book is something I thought about for many years. And I was like, man, I just don't know when I ever do it. Then one day I'm like, man, I'm gonna do it. So locked down and did it. So I would say anyone, like we all have our unique voice, right? Our voice, I like to say, like a fingerprint on our voice, right? We all have experiences that are unique to us, but a lot of times those experiences can affect others. So I've taught, like, I don't know, over 2,000 hours of leadership, like over my time, and time and time again, I sit in rooms and I teach people, and they don't necessarily know what leadership is coming in, and it's a lot of leadership myths that we get, especially in the book, that it kind of talks about, right? It talks about the leadership myth, and it talks about what the truth is on there too. Because just like everything else, just like how the cell phone changed from the Nokia to what we have now, right? Same thing about leadership, right? So I think a lot of times we think this old copy and paste leadership that's been used since the 60s is still good today. Like, nah, it's not. Like, it's a whole different world. So I think one of the biggest things, especially what the book talks about, it kind of walks you through. Like, literally, you can read one chapter, and be a better listener. You can read one other, kind of be ways, and it gives kind of techniques of how to do it, and it gives you a chance to practice. So there's a practice it out loud model in there too that gives you a chance to do it. So it was built. The book was built to teach.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I do want to ask you this, man. What's next for you, man? What do you see yourself the next few years, or what's your next project?
Well, I mean, it's a few of them. I think the first thing is first in the years of retirement. But yes, that. I mean, I'm probably gonna write, a couple more books. Really, well, what I'm really working on. I'm saying this now. I don't think I told you about it. Really, Gina, my mama, and my sister. I'm gonna be on the TED Talks.
Okay.
I'm not there yet. I'm working on kind of being on the TED Talk, one of the Toastmasters. So even me, you always got to be improved, right? You're always trying to find that 1% better. And so my goal is to, be on the TED Talk one day and be on there, 1 million views, those kind of things, and kind of passing that leadership thing. So right now, that's one of the active goals that I'm doing, but eventually try to write some more books. But one of the biggest things I really want to do is kind of like help people write books as well, so because I think, the stories and experiences we all have, and I think, certain people, leaders in the community, have a story to tell. And I think that, I think the fear is the biggest thing. Because I'm not gonna lie, writing a book, that was terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. Writing a book, writing a book itself wasn't terrifying, but you putting it out there in the world and saying like judge it, like like how do you all to judge this? That was, I am not gonna lie, I had to get my mind right for to look at the reviews, but surprisingly, like the reviews have been really good. Like I've gotten really good reviews on it. And and it was nerve wracking because you expect someone to say, "Oh, this book sucks," like you put your whole life into. Like, no, this book is trash. This military dude don't know nothing. So, for me, like that was the most humbling thing. And again, my family was so supportive of it, and it's been great. I mean, it's been really good. So I got a couple book award nominations, so I'm gonna see if I win anything for that. But yeah, so it's just I think the biggest thing is you all have everyone has a unique voice, everyone has a unique thing they bring to the people, and there's a lot of leaders in our community, and I think we're used to minimalizing our greatness, and I think we all the time talk down about ourselves, but I think if we did the opposite, like what could we do if we talked up to ourselves? If we kind of did that, like what kind of change could we see in our community? And that's want to help kind of facilitate that.
Man, that's awesome, man. And I want to ask you this question, man. Finally, man, when you're done or retired or whatever you say, man, what do you want people to remember, man? What do you want your legacy to be?
I don't know. It's actually a weird one. For me, like I don't know. I just want to be one of the best people at making others better. Like for me, like I don't know. There's a certain joy that I get that when someone kind of gets it, like when the light bulb clicks and they get it. So. And now, man, the young folks now, man, sounds like old head saying that. And these guys are so talented, I mean, like far as what they know and what we knew at the time, like it was all. We had to go to the library and get on MySpace, that's what we was at. Oh, top 5 friend profile picture, and then you check again, and somebody gonna talk trash about it. But so I think now, man, like far as like younger generation now and kind of what they know because they have all this access to information that we didn't have. Like we had to learn everything from our aunts, uncles, and grandparents. That was all I know. That word was law. Whatever they said, like
it was.
Grandma said it's Sky's green. I don't care what you guys say.
So
I think now, like I think one of the biggest things I want to do is to be able to teach and influence, and help people in that way. So that's the number one thing I want to do.
Man, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate having you on, man, today, man. And you have dropped some gems, man, and blessed me, man. I'm so glad that you was able to come on today, man. And is there anything else that you like to say, man? Just think about it, man. If some of the young people watching this today, man, what would you say to them?
Yeah, honestly, I would say for the young guys watching, like you got leaders all around you. Some of these are your teachers. Some of these are your principals, some of these are your aunts, some of these are your uncles. Some of these people are on this show that you can see, right? So the resources are there, and you can chat GPT all these things all you want and all, but these real people and these real experiences, like everything that I've learned from leadership, I learned from my my grandparents, my mom, my uncles, my aunts, all those kind of my cousins, my friends, So I think. The coachability, right? So I mean, like the 3 things you talked about, right? You got to get the fundamentals. No matter whatever you want to do, if you don't got the fundamentals down, then you have nothing to fall back on. Your fundamentals will always save you in there too, and if you're always comparing yourself to someone else, you're always going to be unhappy, So just make sure that you aren't drinking that salt water of the comparison, right? And the last thing, you got to be coachable. Like if you're not coachable, like if you already know the answers before you walk in, like you've already failed. Your growth is going to be very limited. So if you can get those 3 things down, then you'll be on the right space. And if you don't know, just find somebody, find some old head in your family, because we're happy to give you information in there.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. This is the What If Show. My name is Darius Davis, and I got my guy, Mr. Knight, with me. And please like and subscribe. He dropped some gems, man. Please rewind if you have to. Take notes. This guy did an amazing job today, and I'm so glad that he was able to join me, man. Thank you so much, man.
Words. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. See you guys later, man. Next time, please check in with us. Thank you.